What's going on, everybody? I am here to do a review for Orphan First Kill. Orphan First Kill is the prequel to the 2009, I would say, horror suspense thriller flick Orphan, which in my opinion was one of the best suspense movies ever made. Probably had one of the best plot twists I have ever seen in a movie before in my life. Definitely caught everybody, including myself, off guard when I first saw it back in 2009. It seems so long ago, considering when that movie came out, I was 20. And now here I am at the age of 32 watching the prequel. And so this one basically is like an origin story. And that's basically what it is. It's an origin story of the Esther character. I have to put that in quotations because if you saw the original Orphan movie, you know, she wasn't who she claimed to be. So this movie basically goes all the way back to literally what it says in her first kill, which actually I'm surprised is only 2 years ago. So the original movie we saw back in 2009 took place in that year. That was present day. But this movie takes place 2 years prior to that in 2007. So they don't go all the way back. They just go 2 years back. It just shows you where she's at, like her being in the institution, and how she was able to get out of the institution. I will say that her character is very crafty. She's very crafty. If you've seen the original Orphan movie, you know how crafty the character of Esther actually is. So basically, she ends up finding a way out. I don't want to really spoil too much just in case you do by chance want to watch it, of how she actually gets out of the institution. But she basically finds a way to get out of the institution, and she looks up some missing kids. Because remember, she has a condition that makes her look like a child when she's really a grown woman. So she ends up looking up some missing kids, and she comes across a picture of a girl who's missing, whose name happens to be Esther. Remember, her real name is not Esther. Her real name is actually Nina. That's not really a spoiler for the simple fact, if you saw Orphan, they explain a little bit of that when that particular plot twist comes in, because that was the plot twist for that movie, was finding out that she wasn't really a girl, that she was really a grown woman with this condition that made her physically appear like a girl. So she ends up looking up pictures, and she ends up finding a picture of a girl that looks just like her. I don't know if there was an actual little girl that looks just like her, or if they kind of did some morphing of the face to make her appear to look like the actress who was portraying Esther, and put them side by side and said, oh, this is perfect. And then she ends up taking on the identity of this girl that has been missing from the States. Because remember, she's all the way in Russia, but she had to find a way in order to get to the States. So she basically claims that she was the missing girl that they were looking for like the last 4 years. And then her parents are going to basically come and get her and bring her back to the States. Now, they brought back the original actress who played Esther in the original film. And one of my worries that I had with this was the fact of age. Because remember, when the first Orphan came out, she was about 11 or 12 years old when she portrayed that role. We're talking about well over 10 years later, so she's in her 20s now. And I think what they did was they used a body double. They used the body double of a little girl that was about the same height as as she was when she was that age, when she portrayed that role. And then they did the little the face thing. I forgot what it's called, to basically put her face onto that of the body double. And I think they pretty much executed it pretty well, because luckily for her, her facial structure hasn't really changed that much. But one thing I really wish they could have done was make this prequel maybe 2, no more than 3 years after the original one came out, and not over an entire decade later. I really don't like when they do stuff like that, but it is what it is. It could be whatever reasons that they decided to go about doing it. That's what it is. So this movie also, brings in some new characters. Julia Stiles, who I have not seen in ages. Like, I haven't seen her be in anything in ages. I think the last time I saw her in something was that Omen movie. They did an Omen reboot, and she played the mother to Damien Thorne. If you saw the original Omen that came out in the late 70s, it's basically the same plot, but it was just a reboot for a newer generation. And she played the mother of Esther. She's trying to find her daughter and whatnot. Then they also had the father. I don't know who the actor was who played the father or who played the brother. And I was reading somewhere where they said the plot twist in this movie, and this is before I watched the movie, was going to blow you away. And I gotta say, this plot twist was damn near better than the one in the original. If you thought the plot twist in Orphan was something about them finding out who she really was, this plot twist was probably a little bit better, because I definitely did not see that coming. I think another thing that might hurt this movie is that they didn't give it a wide theatrical release. They actually released this movie. They did the double release thing. They released it in select theaters, which means it's not a nationwide release, but they also put it on, I think it's Paramount Plus, which is a streaming service. I think this movie could have done well on a wide theatrical release, honestly, because it was really actually pretty good. The plot twist in this was really good. I found myself watching it when that plot twist came up. I had to pause the movie and literally just sit there and register what the hell just happened. And the plot twist for this movie kicks in about halfway through. You know, in Orphan, the plot twist kicked in more towards the end of the movie, but in this one, the plot twist happens like at the halfway mark. And let me tell you something. If you do watch this movie, it's going to completely wreck your brain. I'm telling you right now. I'm not over exaggerating anything. This plot twist is going to be a mind blower, much like the original one was. I don't know what the writer of this movie, but shout out to them for putting that in there. But now she's in the state. She's integrated into this family. And let me tell you something. Esther is very smart. If you think that you're going to outwit her, she's 10 steps ahead of you. Like, you got to think this is a person who looks like a little girl who physically looks like a child, but she has the mind of an adult who was in an institution. I mean, if she could figure out how to get herself out of a mental institution from across the pond and get herself integrated into a family in the States, she's always going to be ahead of you no matter what. I'm glad they kept the horror element was still there. I really didn't like the filter that they used to shoot this movie. If you look at the original movie, it looks real clear and more bright, even though it's a dark tone film. But in this one, I don't know what kind of filter they use. It's almost like it constantly looks foggy, and to the point where I had to watch it in a low lit setting in order to really see what I was trying to see on the screen. So I don't know what kind of filter it is that they use with that. I think those are my two cons. One, that it didn't get a wide theatrical release like it could have. The filter there was kind of off. And the fact that it took so long for them to release this movie, because honestly, they could have released this movie back in like 2011. Honestly, I'm just being completely honest. They could have released this way back when. I don't know why they waited, but you know what? I still enjoyed the movie overall. It was like I said, it was a really good movie. It was well acted. It was well written. The plot twist was like so good. It was well worth it. I'm glad I didn't get spoiled, because I'm gonna be honest with you. The day, I kid you not, and I'll never forget it, the day before I saw Orphan, the original one back in 2009, I got spoiled. The plot twist got spoiled for me literally the day before I went to go see it. I kid you not. And when I saw it, I couldn't be all surprised like what the rest of the audience was. But I'm glad this particular plot twist was not spoiled for me. But all in all, I really did enjoy the movie. There's probably so many more things I could say, but if I do that, I might go into spoiler territory. But I will leave you with this. To me, Esther was not in this movie, was not the primary villain. I'll leave it like that. It's parts in here when you're like, oh, now I see why she is the way that she is based on how certain characters are acting in this movie. But when you see this, you'll say the same thing, that she was not the primary villain. Don't get me wrong. She's still a villain. Like, that's not taken away from the fact that she's a murderous psychopath. But let's put it this way. The plot twist of this movie will show you who the true villains of this movie are. And trust and believe, if we had to layer it on tier level, the Esther, quote unquote, character would probably be on the lower tier. I'll just leave it at that. But that's my review for Orphan First Kill. Y'all let me know what y'all think down in the comments. Is this a movie that you'll watch? Most likely on streaming, because like I said, it's a select theater, so you probably won't be able to find it. Maybe you will. I don't know. If you watch I will say this: if you watch the original movie, definitely watch this one. I'll say that the movie doesn't disappoint. It's a really good movie. I will say that. And the only thing I think I hate about when it goes to streaming like that is it doesn't get a bigger push behind it unless it goes on something like Netflix. But like I said, it's on Paramount Plus. I don't know many people who have a Paramount Plus subscription. But I really enjoyed the movie. That was my review. Y'all let me know what you think of it down in the comments. Will you like it? I mean, will you watch it or will you not watch it? Whatever the case may be. Share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Click the bell to be notified when I upload a new video or go live. Also have your notifications turned on to your mobile devices. All the links will be down in the description, and I'll talk to you in the next one.